I don't even know why I'm emotional, but I am sitting in a beautiful park in Japan, in Shinjuku. It is 144 acres. I'm gonna put the name on the screen so I don't butcher it by saying it. And I've like explored the whole thing. I mean, a lot of it, at least. It's very large. The weather's gorgeous. And I was like, I'm just gonna sit. And I've passed a million benches, right? But like, I came into this section, which is called the Mother and Child Woods. And as I walked into this section of the park, I was like, I felt a little something. And I'm very sensitive to like feelings and pings and downloads, especially when I try to be aware, like genuinely aware of them. As I walked into this section of the park, I was like, oh, it's something special. I didn't know, but I just felt it. And I passed one bench and then I saw this one, and it just like, the way the sun hit it, I was just like, I'm gonna sit for a while and just like think about life and contemplate and just like try and work through some shit, right? So I'm sitting here for a minute, and a sweet older Japanese man walks over and he says, can I talk to you? And I have to tell you, Justin Schumann in New York City would have been like, no, I have to go. I would have been so nervous. There's something about Japan that feels so calming, and I'll get to there in a second. I said, sure. So he sits down. He like is in a beautiful suit with a backpack on. I'm like, I am not in danger. And we're chatting, and he basically says he used to come to this park when he was a kid, and he hasn't been here in 10 years. And now he's 72, and today's the first time he's been back here. And I was like, wow, and how is it? And are you enjoying yourself? And is it everything you thought it would be? But he said if like, he could ask me a question. So I was waiting for him, you know, to drive the conversation. And pretty early on, he said, do you come to this park often? I said, no, it's my very first time. And he said, oh, and what's your mother country? I said, the US. He said, oh, the US. What do you think of Japan? And I really wanted to be like very honest with my answers. So I took a moment and I said, there is a sense of community here. It all feels like one, and it's very clean. There's a large sense of community, and it's so clean. And he, you know, he agreed, he concurred, hi. And he went on to talk about the US and how amazing it seems from the outside. He didn't say from the outside, but obviously this was a view from the outside. And that America is so great. And then he said, why are you so great? And I said, wow, in what way? And he said, politically, economically, like the US is so great. And people from the US have so much confidence, which I thought was really interesting that was the word he used. And they're so likely to explore and go outside themselves. He said, the Japanese don't do that. We don't have that confidence here. We don't like to leave. So why do you think Americans are so confident? And I said, I think it's by necessity. In the US, you don't survive unless you know how to be yourself out loud. Of course you can get by, but you don't really thrive unless you can figure out how to fucking make yourself loudly known, because we're hyper individualistic and we're kind of out for ourselves. And there's a lot of loud people out there who don't really deserve to be taking up the space they do, but well, they're loud. And I said, I think in Japan, I wouldn't say that you don't have confidence, but since people grow up with this feeling of safety and unity, there's no need to not individualize, but create this performative large self. And he seemed semi-satisfied with that answer. We kept talking, and he shared with me that he takes English lessons, and he's been taking English lessons, and he's very proud that he can speak to foreigners, and it makes him very, very happy, which I was just like, the fact that by having a single conversation with this man made his day, made me happy. And I was like, wow, I knew I sat on this bench for a reason. And I really don't know why any of this made me emotional. I just think it was like something I needed. I don't know. He asked me, he kept talking about America and how he remembered Kennedy's presidency and all these amazing, great times. He asked me, what does America want for the future? I said, that's a big question. And he laughed. And I said, you know, the US feels very divided right now. So I think what most of us are hoping for is a future where we come back together. That's it. I don't know if we can hope or wish for much more until that happens. I said that there's a lot of anger and sadness right now in the US. And I said, how about you? And I said, here just feels happier. There's a sense of, I don't know, ease. Do you agree? Do you think Japan is happy? And he sat back and he said, I'm happy. And at the same time, I'm also sad. And I was like, oh, fuck. Put it so simply, sir. I mean, yes, sure. Who among us is not? Because he said that there are issues here that have been going on for a very long time because the history of Japan is so long. And he said, how do you say that the young people are going to have to deal with it? And I said, I think that's how generations work, right? Every next generation's job is to fix or work with what we were left, what we've got. I said, we've got a lot of work to do over there too, at home. And he thanked me and he told me how happy the conversation made him. We must have spoken for 7 minutes, maybe 8, like not even. And we shook hands and he got up and left. Such a big conversation in this very big park on this very small bench. Go see the world, y'all. Because sometimes you have to like get out of your house to realize that all over the globe we're dealing with the same shit. And it makes you feel really small in a really like correct way. Like the things that I'm dealing with right now, the things that are like weighing me down, that are on my heart. There's something comforting in knowing that they are not singular. Everyone's hurting, but you wouldn't know until you went across the world and had an honest conversation with a 72-year-old man on a bench. So go find a bench somewhere, sit down and make yourself open and available for conversation, because you never know what could come of it.